The dark edge of the Varin Nebula stretched like a silent ocean across the stars, thick with glowing mist that twisted and moved as if alive. For countless cycles, no ship dared to enter this region without escorts, because sensors failed, communications vanished, and entire vessels dissolved into the fog without a trace. Yet tonight thousands of alien ships hid inside this living storm, their engines muted, their lights dimmed, their weapons armed. They had been preparing for weeks, joining their strengths, their knowledge, their hatred, all for one purpose: the destruction of the human Seventh Fleet. They believed it was the perfect plan. It had taken months of secret meetings, coded transmissions, and alliances built on shared fear of one species, humans. The aliens studied human movements, human supply routes, human fleet timing. They placed thousands of mines, invisible in the mist, coated with stealth tech. They installed jammers capable of silencing every Terran communication signal. They positioned their warships in layered rings, each one ready to fire from all sides. No human ship had ever survived such a trap, at least in theory. The alien commanders stood inside their shadowed bridges with confidence, watching their scanners with hungry eyes. They whispered to each other across encrypted channels: humans will enter blind. Humans will scatter. Humans will panic. Their soldiers believed the same. The nebula hid everything, even the heartbeat of fear. The aliens had used this mist before, against smaller species, weaker species, species that screamed when ambushed. They expected the same from humans. But the moment the human Seventh Fleet entered the nebula, everything changed. The first human ship emerged from the glowing fog in perfect formation, not drifting, not confused, not slowing down. Then another. Then 10 more. All sharp, aligned, disciplined, cutting through the nebula like blades of silver light. Alien captains stared at their screens. No one spoke. Human ships did not scan wildly. Human ships did not break formation. Human ships did not show fear. Instead, they moved with the same calm motion as if traveling through clear space on a peaceful day. Inside the command vessel, the massive flagship USS Horizon, Admiral Rowan stood with his hands behind his back. His face was calm, his posture straight, his breath steady. The bridge lights reflected softly off the dark metal around him. His officers sat at their stations, eyes focused, expressions unreadable, each one acting as if this ambush was nothing more than routine navigation. But the truth was far more terrifying than any alien plan. On the main screen, thousands of enemy warships hiding in the mist appeared in crystal clarity. Every ship size, every energy signature, every mine, every trap. Humans could see them all, because Admiral Rowan had activated something the enemy never expected. Dark matter vision mode. It was humanity's secret project, built in hidden labs under Earth's oceans, tested in forbidden star systems, and whispered only to the highest ranks. A technology that did not rely on light or normal sensors, but on the shape of space itself. It could see through nebula mist, through stealth shields, through mines, even through the faint energy footprints left by ships that believed they were invisible. While the aliens believed humans were blind, the humans saw everything. Rowan did not smile. He did not show any joy. He simply watched the enemy fleet with the calmness of a man who had already predicted every move they would make. His voice was steady. Maintain course. Do not react to anything. The officers obeyed instantly. His communications chief whispered, "Sir, it is exactly as predicted. They are all here. Thousands of them." Rowan nodded slowly. "Good. Let them believe we are walking into their trap." Across the nebula, alien captains leaned forward, confused. Some shouted at their screens. Some looked at their sensor officers with disbelief. Some felt something they had never felt before: doubt. One alien commander hissed, "Why are they not changing formation?" Another shouted, "Why are they not slowing down? Why are they not afraid?" A younger officer stammered, "Yes, sir. Maybe they did not detect us." "Impossible," the commander barked. "No one can detect stealth ships in this nebula. No one." But deep inside, even he felt his stomach turn. Something was wrong. Horribly wrong. On the horizon, Rowan checked the readings again. Every single alien ship glowed on the holographic screen like tiny red sparks trapped in the mist. "They think they are hunters," he murmured, "but they are already prey." His tactical officer swallowed hard. Even after training, even after knowing the plan, the sight was overwhelming. Tens of thousands of enemy ships. Hidden. Ready to fire. But the humans were calm. Too calm. The aliens noticed this too. Their panic began quietly, like a whisper carried through their fleets. Then it grew louder. One alien shouted, "Commander, the humans are coming straight toward us." Another screamed, "Why are they not reacting?" A third cried, "This is not possible. Why are they so calm?" The alien commanders tried to reassure their soldiers, but inside their cold hearts they felt something ancient rising, fear. Meanwhile, Rowan lifted a small metallic device from his console and pressed a single button. The bridge lights dimmed for 2 seconds, just 2, but those seconds changed everything. Dark matter vision mode reached full power. The human fleet suddenly became sharper, faster, more synchronized. They were not wandering into danger. They were moving directly toward the alien positions with absolute purpose. Because they were not guessing. They were tracking. And at that moment, every alien commander realized the same terrifying truth. Their perfect ambush was already broken. The humans had been waiting for them. Human ships began adjusting their positions by tiny angles, so tiny the aliens almost missed it. But those angles formed something chilling. A battle formation meant for only one scenario, total encirclement of the enemy. On the alien screens, the formation looked like the jaws of some cosmic beast slowly closing. Alien captains panicked. Their hearts hammered. Their blood ran cold. Their plans shattered. One shouted, "They know. They know we are here." Another screamed, "How? Our jammers were supposed to blind them." A third cried, "Why are their ships not reacting? Why are they so confident?" Panic spread like fire through their ranks. Officers ran. Weapons overcharged. Captains yelled contradictory orders. The nebula, once their shield, now felt like a prison closing around them. Inside the horizon, Rowan simply said, "They fire in 30 seconds. His officers stared at him. "How do you know, sir?" Rowan's eyes were cold. "Because this is exactly what I would do if I thought my enemy was blind." And right on time, across the nebula, the alien fleet prepared their first massive volley. Weapons warmed. Missiles activated. Plasma cores roared. The nebula glowed with deadly light. The aliens believed this would be the greatest victory in their history. But Rowan already knew something they did not. Humans were not in danger. Humans were not blind. Humans were not trapped. The aliens were. As the enemy prepared to unleash hell, Rowan whispered the words that would be remembered across the galaxy for centuries. "Let them fire first. Then we end this." The bridge fell silent. The nebula trembled. The first shot was seconds away. And while billions of alien hearts pounded in terror and excitement, humans stood calm, cold, ready. Because the moment the first alien weapon fired, humanity would awaken. And the galaxy would never be the same again. The first alien weapon had not even fired yet, but fear had already begun to crawl through their fleets like poison. Inside the hidden warships, officers stared at their scanners with shaking hands. They could not understand why the humans were calm, why the humans were silent, why the humans moved with such deadly precision. The nebula mist swirled around them like a giant beast breathing slowly, and every alien heart beat faster than the last. A young alien navigator whispered, "Commander, they are not reacting. Humans are supposed to panic in ambush situations. Why are they not panicking?" His commander hissed sharply, "Silence. Humans are reckless. Humans make mistakes. Humans run when afraid. They always run." But even his own voice trembled. Something was wrong, something big. The human fleet moved deeper into the nebula, and each ship glowed like a phantom in the mist. Their lights were steady. Their speed did not change. Their formation remained perfect. Not one human ship drifted out of line. Not one turned away in confusion. Not one hesitated. The enemy tried to convince themselves that this was normal, that the humans were foolish or arrogant. But deep inside, every alien felt a cold truth rising like a shadow. The humans knew. Something inside the nebula felt heavier, darker, like the space itself understood what was coming. One alien officer shouted, "Commander, they are coming straight toward our position." Another yelled, "Their formation is too stable. No fleet stays like this in an ambush, unless..." His voice cracked. He could not finish the sentence. In the core command ship of the alien coalition, High Marshal Trevik gripped the edge of his chair tightly. His reptilian eyes narrowed as he stared at the hologram. The human ships were marked with blue, his own with red. The blue formation moved like a single living organism. Smooth, silent, deadly. It made his scales lift in terror. "Why are they not afraid?" he whispered. His second-in-command, a tall insectoid creature, buzzed nervously. Maybe they did not detect us." Trevik snapped, "If they did not detect us, why are they flying directly toward the center of our ambush?" The insectoid officer froze. He had no answer. Sweat dripped down his carapace. On the human flagship USS Horizon, Admiral Rowan did not look at the enemy readings. He did not need to. He already knew how these aliens fought. He already predicted their thoughts. He already mapped their fear. His officers spoke softly around him, but no one panicked. No one raised their voice. No one trembled. Rowan's heartbeat was steady, calm, almost too calm for a man surrounded by thousands of enemy ships. His eyes stayed focused on the center screen. He saw every alien warship hiding in the mist, every mine, every bombing platform, every stealth fighter. He saw their formation break in real time as panic started to spread. He saw hesitation in their movements. "Sir," his tactical officer whispered, "their ships are shifting positions. They are nervous." Rowan did not blink. "Of course they are. They expected us to be blind. They never expected us to be watching." One human officer exhaled slowly. "Sir, they are preparing the firing sequence." Rowan nodded. "Let them." The human bridge stayed silent, so silent that even the hum of the engines felt distant. Meanwhile, inside the alien ships, chaos grew louder. Captains shouted orders. Crew members ran between consoles. Sensor operators pounded their screens, hoping to find answers. Weapons officers panicked as they saw human ships moving with impossible discipline. A young alien cried out, "They are adjusting their formation again. They are adapting to our positions." The captain roared, "How? Our stealth systems are perfect." But he knew it was a lie. Nothing felt perfect anymore. Nothing felt safe. Nothing felt hidden. He could almost feel human eyes watching him through the mist. High Marshal Trevik slammed his fist into the console. "They cannot know. They cannot see us." The screen answered him with a cold truth. The humans not only saw them, but were already positioning themselves with surgical precision. Trevik's fear turned into rage. "Fine. If they want to be brave, let them die brave." He pointed at his weapons chief. "Prepare all ships. We fire first." Across the nebula, thousands of alien weapons began to glow. Plasma reactors charged. Ion cannons warmed. Missile bays opened. For a brief moment, the entire nebula lit with scattered points of deadly light, like stars being born only to kill. Yet the humans still did not react. Not a single ship changed speed. Not a single human voice rose in fear. On the horizon, Rowan's voice was calm, steady, almost gentle. "Hold position. Maintain formation." His officers obeyed instantly. Not one questioned him. Not one flinched. The youngest officer on the bridge, Ensign Myra Hale, watched the enemy lights growing brighter. She felt fear in her chest, but she also felt something stronger. Trust. She knew Rowan had seen something they had not. Something deeper. Something hidden. She whispered to herself, "Why are they so afraid of us, when they have so many ships?" The answer came in her mind almost instantly. Because the aliens realized, too late, that humans were not confused. Humans were not guessing. Humans were not trapped. Humans were waiting. Back in the alien flagship, Trevik's voice shook as he gave the most important order of his life. All ships, prepare to fire. His officers obeyed, but their hands trembled. They all felt it now, that the nebula itself was holding its breath. That something was wrong. That something terrible was about to happen. On thousands of alien bridges, officers whispered prayers to their gods. Some reached for family charms. Some wiped tears. Some clenched their fists. Because deep inside, they finally understood. This was not an ambush on humans. This was an ambush on themselves. They expected humans to walk into death. Instead, humans walked toward them with calm steps and cold eyes. They expected humans to be afraid. Instead, humans looked like hunters approaching wounded prey. They expected humans to scatter. Instead, humans closed their formation like jaws ready to bite. In that moment, fear became real, alive, heavy like a weight dropping on every alien heart. And just as Trevik shouted the words, "Fire all weapons," Rowan whispered a single sentence to his crew, so quiet only the bridge could hear. Now we see how brave their fear becomes. The nebula glowed bright as the first alien weapon fired, and the galaxy held its breath as fear finally broke into chaos. The first alien weapon shot through the nebula like a burning spear, cutting the mist apart with a roar of plasma. Then the second shot followed. Then the third. Then 1,000 more. Within seconds, the entire Varin Nebula exploded with violent light. Plasma beams tore across space. Ion storms spiraled like blue hurricanes. Missile trails burned white-hot against the fog. It looked like the birth of a star, or the death of one. Every alien ship unleashed everything they had. They fired so much energy that the nebula itself shook, the mist parting like wounded clouds. The combined power of their attack could have wiped out 10 planets. Any normal fleet would have been crushed instantly. Any normal fleet would have broken apart. Any normal fleet would have died screaming. But the human fleet was not normal. Inside the USS Horizon, no one panicked. No one shouted. No one ran. Admiral Rowan watched the storm of enemy fire approaching like a man watching rain hit a window. His voice was calm. Activate gravity curtains. His officers obeyed instantly. A deep low hum vibrated through the ship. All across the human fleet, the same sound echoed. The space around each human vessel bent, folded, reshaped itself. Then something impossible happened. The alien plasma beams curved away at the last second. Missiles changed direction and spiraled into the mist. Ion storms broke apart and died. Every weapon failed. Not slowed. Not weakened. Failed. On alien bridges, chaos erupted like fire. A weapons officer screamed, "Our shots missed. All of them missed." Another shouted, "Their ships are not hit, not even one." A captain slammed his fists on the console. Why? What did they do? What shield is that? Panic spread through their fleets like lightning through dry wood. Even the most experienced commanders froze. Their perfect ambush had just collapsed in a single moment. The young alien navigator whispered, "Commander, even the missiles refused to hit them." The commander's voice cracked. Refused? Missiles don't refuse anything. But his eyes trembled. Because deep inside, he knew something unnatural was happening. Something wrong. Something terrifying. Something human. On the horizon, Rowan stepped forward slowly. He did not raise his voice. He spoke like someone delivering truth, not threat. "They need to understand," he said. "Their greatest attack means nothing to us." Ensign Myra Hale stared in awe. "Sir, they fired everything." Rowan nodded. And it wasn't enough. The alien coalition watched in horror as the mist cleared. Not a single human ship was damaged. Not one scratch. Not one burn. Not one flicker of weakness. Instead, the human fleet looked stronger. Sharper. More focused. As if the enemy's attack had only sharpened their resolve. High Marshal Trevik felt his scales tighten. His throat dried. His voice cracked as he whispered to his officers, What have we provoked?" No one answered. No one could. The truth was too heavy to speak. The alien fleet had fired the largest ambush volley in galactic history, but humans remained untouched. And now, it was the humans' turn to move. Rowan's eyes narrowed. Status report. His officer replied, calm and steady, gravity curtains stable. 0 damage to the fleet. Rowan inhaled softly, almost pitying the enemy. Then begin the counterphase. Across the nebula, human ships shifted position with cold precision. Not fast, not aggressive, just controlled, like giant chess pieces sliding into place. To the aliens, it looked like the humans were tightening a noose around them. Trevik shouted, "WHY are they moving like that? What are they doing?" His sensors officer trembled. "Sir, they are forming a containment circle around us." Trevik's voice exploded. "A circle? A human fleet is surrounding US? We outnumber them 10 to 1. The officer whispered, "Sir, it does not matter, because the humans were not fighting with numbers. They were fighting with knowledge." Inside the nebula mist, the human fleet closed formation, creating a silent cage around the alien ships. Rowan gave the order with a single word. "Lock." And with that, the human ships activated a second hidden system, spatial latch fields. A soft glow spread through the nebula. It looked harmless. It looked beautiful. It looked almost peaceful. But every alien ship suddenly felt their engines stutter. Then freeze. Then stop completely. A chorus of screams erupted across enemy fleets. "Engine failure. I can't move the ship. Commander, we are frozen. Space is locked around US." Trevik's face turned pale. "What have they done?" A trembling officer whispered, "Sir, the humans. They locked space around us." Silence fell. A heavy silence. A silence full of horror. The alien fleet had attacked with everything. And the humans answered with something far worse. Control. They didn't destroy enemy ships. They didn't return fire. They simply removed the enemy's ability to move. It was the purest humiliation an army could suffer. Human fleets drifted closer, calm as ghosts. Their lights reflected across the frozen alien vessels like a quiet warning. On the horizon, Rowan spoke softly, as if to himself. "They thought we were blind." His eyes hardened. "But we were watching them the entire time." Ensign Myra swallowed hard. "Sir, what now?" Rowan stepped closer to the main screen, staring into the heart of the silent alien fleet. "Now," he said, "they learn why you never ambush a species that studies you more than you study them." Across the nebula, the alien fleet felt the same thing at once, a chilling wave of realization. Their ambush had not just failed. It had exposed them. It had cornered them. It had placed them inside a human-designed trap. And the worst part? Humanity hadn't even fired a single shot yet. The alien soldiers looked at each other with wide, terrified eyes. Their commanders clenched their fists in helpless anger. Their weapons officers whispered in fear. And every alien heart finally understood the truth. The first strike belonged to them. The last strike would belong to the humans. The nebula had fallen silent, too silent. Moments ago it burned with alien weapons, screamed with energy storms, and flashed with violent light. Now the entire battlefield stood frozen, as if time itself had lost interest in moving forward. Alien ships hung in the mist like statues carved from fear. Engines dead. Weapons offline. Shields collapsing. Thousands of warships reduced to helpless shadows in a cage they could not see, could not understand, and could not escape. On every alien bridge, officers stared at their dimming consoles with trembling hands. Words refused to form. Logic refused to work. The truth attacked them from all sides. They were trapped. Completely. Perfectly. Terribly. And the humans had not fired a single shot. High Marshal Trevik's voice finally broke the silence inside his flagship. It was not loud. It was not strong. It was the voice of someone whose world had just cracked. Why are their ships moving like that? His officers did not answer at first. They simply watched, wide-eyed, as the human fleet began drifting closer. Slow, controlled, precise. Not rushing. Not charging. Just approaching with a cold confidence that made every alien breath tighten. The humans moved as if they had all the time in the galaxy. As if they were already victorious. As if this entire ambush was nothing more than a small inconvenience in their path. On the USS Horizon, Admiral Rowan watched the enemy fleet with the calm intensity of a surgeon studying a patient before the first incision. His expression never changed. No smile. No anger. Just purpose. Steady, cold, final. Begin the step-forward pattern, he ordered softly. Human ships shifted again, aligning into a shape impossible to misread. The encirclement coil, a formation used only for one purpose, total domination of an enemy fleet. Ensign Myra Hale whispered, "Sir, it looks like we're surrounding them." Rowan's voice was gentle. "We are. But they have thousands of ships. They should be surrounding us, they should," Rowan said quietly, "but fear bends numbers." Myra swallowed. She had felt fear before, but what the aliens were feeling now, she could almost taste it through the screen. A heavy, suffocating fear. A fear that did not shake hands. It crushed throats. Down in the alien ranks, soldiers began whispering desperate questions. Why aren't humans firing? Why are they calm? Why are they closing in without weapons raised? The alien commanders had no answers. Because the movement of the human fleet was worse than any direct attack. It showed control, precision, confidence. It showed that humans were not surviving the ambush. They were orchestrating it. On Trevik's flagship, the old reptilian marshal felt his chest tighten. He had led 100 battles. He had defeated 3 species. He had never bowed to fear. But right now, even he could not deny the shaking in his bones. They are tightening the trap, he whispered. His second-in-command buzzed nervously. But we set the trap, sir. Trevik closed his eyes. No, we only thought we did. Meanwhile, human ships glided effortlessly into new positions, each one sliding into formation like pieces of an ancient puzzle. Then Rowan gave the first command that would break the remaining courage of the enemy. Prepare precision beams. His officers tapped their screens. On the outer hulls of human ships, thin glowing lines appeared, soft, clean, beautiful. Not weapons designed to destroy. Weapons designed to humiliate. At the same moment, thousands of alien ships tried to react. Engines roared, then coughed, then died again. Weapons tried to charge, but power disappeared. Shields flickered, then vanished like fading stars. They were frozen inside an invisible cage, unable to run, unable to attack, unable to even turn. Trevik slammed his fist on his console. Move. Anyone. Move the ship. Move something. Nothing moved. Not a single vessel. Not even by a centimeter. Spatial latch fields held them like insects trapped in glass. And then, humans fired. But not to destroy. Not to kill. Not to scorch. Instead, thousands of thin beams shot out across the nebula. They were not aimed at hulls. They were not aimed at weapons. They were not aimed at lives. They were aimed at engines. Silent beams. Gentle beams. Surgical beams. The beams touched alien ships with the precision of a doctor touching a patient's pulse. And within 1 second, every alien engine across the battlefield shut down permanently. Screens dimmed. Consoles turned black. Power systems collapsed. A silence deeper than fear spread through every alien ship. A young alien whispered, They disabled us, softly. Another cried, they could have destroyed us. Why didn't they? A third trembled, because destroying us would be mercy. This is humiliation. On the horizon, Rowan lowered his head slightly. His voice held neither pride nor hatred, only truth. They planned to break our fleet. Instead, we broke their will. Ensign Myra felt a chill run through her as she looked at the frozen alien formations. Sir, they look like they're waiting for something. Rowan's eyes hardened. They are waiting for hope. And they will not find it here. In the nebula, Human ships drifted closer, their hull lights reflecting off the dead alien fleets like silent torches. Each Terran vessel carried an aura of unshakable calm, the calm of a predator that already tasted victory. Trevik watched in despair. His throat tightened. His pride shattered. His soldiers looked at him with wide, terrified eyes. They wanted orders. They wanted answers. They wanted salvation. But Trevik had nothing to give. Because how do you fight an enemy who saw your trap before you built it? How do you defeat a fleet that lets you fire first, just to show you that you failed? How do you lead soldiers who feel the moment hope died? Trevik whispered, barely audible, "We should never have awakened them." On the horizon, Rowan stood tall. His voice quiet, but powerful like a storm behind a whisper. This was their plan. Now they will learn ours. And with that, humanity revealed its first real move. A move that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. A move that told every alien heart, "You tried to blind us. You tried to trap us. You tried to break us. Now face the price." The Varin Nebula had become a graveyard of silence. Thousands of alien ships floated like broken statues, trapped inside invisible walls they could not understand. Their engines were dead. Their weapons useless. Their shields gone. Their courage evaporated. And through this ocean of helplessness, the human fleet moved with the calm of beings who had already seen the ending of this battle before it began. On the USS Horizon, Admiral Rowan stood still, eyes steady, posture unshaken. The lights on the bridge reflected across his face, but his expression did not change. His presence alone felt like a silent verdict passing across the nebula. Ensign Myra Hale watched him with awe, wondering how a man could show so much control while standing in the center of a battlefield where millions of lives trembled in fear. Across the alien flagship, High Marshal Trevik felt his heart surrender before his mind did. His claws dug into the arms of his command chair. He stared at the frozen ships around him, his ships, his fleet, his proud armada, now reduced to helpless shadows drifting inside the nebula. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. How could he speak when even his breath felt too heavy to lift? Then it happened. A low hum rose from the human ships. Not loud, not sharp, just a soft resonance, like a whisper from the heart of the nebula itself. And then the human fleet activated their second system, the Horizon Pulse. A wave of dark blue energy spread outward from the human formation. It expanded gently, elegantly, beautifully. No fire, no explosion, no violence. It spread like a quiet ocean wave passing through ships frozen in fear. But its effect was devastating. As the pulse touched the alien vessels, every system inside them shut down instantly. Consoles went blank. Holograms vanished. Lights dimmed into nothing. Gravity flickered. Crew members slipped and grabbed railings to stay upright. Weapons that were already offline became corpses of metal. Communication channels died like candles snuffed in the dark. And then came the sound that broke alien hearts. Silence. Inside thousands of ships, millions of soldiers found themselves swallowed by a darkness so complete that even their fear felt louder than the empty halls around them. Some cried. Some choked on their breath. Some collapsed on their knees. Some whispered apologies to gods who were too far to listen. For the first time in their lives, they understood the true meaning of helplessness. A young alien officer trembled as he stared at the dead screens. His voice cracked. "Commander, we're blind." His captain whispered back, "Not blind. Defeated." On the Horizon Bridge, Rowan watched the pulse wave ripple across the nebula. His eyes did not soften. His voice did not warm. But something deep inside him, the part that remembered every colony attacked, every human lost, felt a slow, controlled fire rising. "Status?" he asked. His tactical officer responded, "All enemy power signatures are gone. Full battlefield control achieved." Rowan nodded, the movement slow, deliberate. "Good," he said, then moved to Phase 3. Human ships drifted forward again, formation tightening like a steel grip around a trembling throat. Their hull lights glowed with a calm blue shine, illuminating the helpless alien fleets around them. The humans looked less like soldiers and more like judges passing a sentence. The aliens felt it too. Inside Trevik's flagship, an older officer whispered in terror, "Marshal, they are not attacking us. They are inspecting us." Trevik closed his eyes briefly. "They want us to know they could destroy us at any moment. They want us to feel it." Another officer covered his face. "This is worse than death." And he was right. Death was fast. This was a slow unraveling of pride. The humans disabled their engines softly. They shut down their power carefully. They locked their ships gently. Not to destroy them, but to break their spirit. Back on the horizon, Rowan gave his next command. One that pierced through the nebula like a blade made of cold truth. "Transmit message." Horizon's comm officer pressed a button. A soft hum vibrated through the bridge. Then Rowan spoke, not with hatred, not with anger, but with absolute authority. "Alien Coalition Fleet. You planned the perfect ambush." His words echoed into every powerless alien ship. "You believed we were blind." Silence. Tension. Fear. "But we saw you the moment you entered the nebula." Alien officers froze. Trevik felt his heart stop in his chest. Rowan continued, voice deep, steady, final. "You did not trap us. You walked into a trap we built around your trap." In thousands of ships, millions of eyes widened with horror. Rowan's voice grew colder. "You attacked first. You fired first. You tried to destroy us." A brief pause. "And now you will understand what it means to be judged." The aliens felt the weight of each word crush deeper than any weapon. On the alien flagship, Trevik finally broke. His voice cracked as he whispered, "We should have never challenged them. We should have never awakened them." But it was too late. Across the nebula, the human fleet finished forming a perfect containment ring, tight, unbreakable, flawless. Human ships hovered at equal distances, forming a seamless wall of silent power. The alien soldiers felt the truth settle in their bones. The ambushes had become the trapped, and humanity was only beginning its countermove. The nebula had gone so quiet that even fear sounded loud. Thousands of frozen alien warships drifted in helpless silence, powerless and trapped, their lights dead, their engines cold, their crews trembling inside dark bridges where hope had already begun to rot. And through this graveyard of fear, the human fleet moved with slow, terrifying precision. The USS Horizon glided forward, leading the formation like a giant shadow with a heartbeat of steel. Every Terran ship followed in perfect sequence. No shaking, no hesitation, no confusion. Only focus. Only purpose. Only the cold certainty of a fleet that had not come to survive, but to dominate. Inside the Horizon, Admiral Rowan remained still, hands behind his back, his presence radiating a quiet authority that felt heavier than the nebula itself. The holographic screen before him showed the entire trapped alien armada, thousands upon thousands of red symbols blinking helplessly in the dark. Rowan studied them like a teacher studying students who had failed a test they created themselves. "Advance in spiral pattern," Rowan said calmly. Human vessels shifted instantly. Their engines hummed alive, glowing with soft blue light. They began weaving through the nebula in a spiral motion. Smooth, controlled, impossible to match. The movement was so clean, so elegant, that even Rowan's officers watched in silent awe. It looked less like a fleet advancing, and more like a storm forming. Across the alien flagship, High Marshal Trevik felt his strength draining with every passing second. He held the armrest of his chair so tightly his claws cracked the metal. His officers stood behind him in complete silence, their faces pale with dread. They watched the human fleet moving through the nebula like a living creature. A creature that had been sleeping for too long. A creature finally awake. What formation is that?" one alien whispered. Trevik swallowed hard. "It is not a formation," he said softly. "It is control." The young officer's eyes trembled. "Control of what, sir?" Trevik looked straight at the screen, face tightening. "Of us." Human ships passed dangerously close to alien vessels, so close the aliens could see every marking on their hulls. Yet no collision happened. No shot was fired. No hostility. Only a slow, deliberate, terrifying reminder. We can come this close anytime we want. And you cannot stop us. One alien soldier whispered to another, voice breaking, "They are inspecting us, like prisoners." "Prisoners?" the other replied, shaking violently. "No, this feels worse." Back on the horizon, Rowan watched his fleet weave through the enemy like a cold wind sweeping through a burning forest. His tactical officer turned toward him. "Sir, all alien ships remain fully disabled. 0 movement detected. 0 power signatures. They are completely at our mercy." Rowan nodded slowly. "Good. Then open the broadcast." A soft hum filled the human ship as the communication channels activated. Within seconds, every alien vessel, every bridge, every hallway, every deck, heard the sharp click of a human transmission activating their dead speakers. Then Rowan's voice filled the darkness. "Alien Coalition Fleet, this is Admiral Rowan of the human 7th Fleet." His voice was calm. Too calm. Calm enough to freeze blood. "You planned an ambush," he said quietly. "You positioned thousands of ships. You prepared traps, mines, jammers. You studied our routes. You believed us blind." His words sank deep, like knives falling into water. "But we studied you first." Many aliens shivered at those words. Rowan continued, "We monitored your fleet movements the moment you entered this nebula. We tracked your communications. We marked every ship. We mapped every trap. We allowed you to set them." A stunned silence spread through alien vessels. Rowan's next words felt like thunder whispered across a battlefield. "You did not trap us. You trapped yourselves." Across the nebula, alien soldiers felt their courage collapse. Some held their heads. Some shook uncontrollably. Some cried in fear. Trevik clenched his jaw. "He is not even angry." His officer replied, voice shaking, "That is what makes it terrifying." Back on the horizon, Rowan moved one step closer to the screen. His voice softened, but the softness carried more weight than any threat. "You attacked us first. You fired everything you had. And now—" He paused. The nebula held its breath. "You will see our first move." Rowan raised his hand. "Deploy Project Echo." The order sent a ripple of energy through the human fleet. Panels opened across their hulls. Dozens of small glowing drones shot out into the mist, spreading rapidly in all directions. Each drone carried the same silent blue light as the horizon, and together they created a web of scanning beams that swept across every alien ship. But this was no simple scan. It was a record. Rowan spoke again. "Project Echo records all battlefield data in real time. Every ship that fired. Every weapon used. Every sequence of your ambush. When this is over, the entire galaxy will see the truth." The aliens felt their hearts collapse. They wanted to kill the humans. But now the humans would expose them. Trevik stiffened. He plans to show the galaxy that we attacked first." His communications officer trembled. "Our allies, our trading partners, our colonies. They will all see that we started this war." Trevik closed his eyes. "And they will abandon us." On the horizon, Myra Hale realized the brilliance of Rowan's plan. "Sir," she whispered, "you're not just defeating them, you're breaking their reputation." Rowan did not smile. "A species that attacks us in the dark must spend the rest of its existence standing in the light." As the drones finished their sweep, human ships adjusted position again, this time forming a second ring outside the first. A larger ring. A stronger ring. A cage within a cage. The aliens saw it and felt despair pierce their souls. One alien officer whispered, "They are building walls, around our walls." His captain replied, shaking, "They do not want us to escape. They want us to witness." Then something happened that no alien expected. Rowan spoke one more line. A line that made the entire nebula shiver. "Prepare the Mercy Protocol." Myra's breath stopped. "Sir, Mercy." Rowan nodded. "Before judgment, we give them one chance." And at that moment, Every alien heart trembled. Humans had not come to kill them. Humans had come to judge them. And the true punishment was about to begin. The nebula hung in absolute silence, a silence so deep it felt like the entire galaxy had stopped breathing. The alien fleet, once proud, once powerful, once united, was now nothing more than a caged mass of cold metal and shaking hearts. The human fleet hovered around them in perfect formation, glowing like a ring of judgment carved from blue fire. Engines silent. Weapons sealed. Intent clear. Inside the USS Horizon, Admiral Rowan stood still, his expression unreadable, his posture straight, his presence calm yet crushing. Project Echo drones continued circling the battlefield, recording every piece of evidence, every act of aggression, every weapon fired by the alien coalition. The truth was being woven into history in real time. Ensign Myra Hale watched the alien ships on the holographic screen. Thousands of vessels with darkened windows, flickering emergency lights, powerless cores. She felt a strange mix of emotions, awe at the strength of her people, sorrow at the collapse of an entire armada, and a cold understanding that this moment would redefine the galaxy forever. "Sir," she whispered, "they're cornered." Rowan nodded, voice soft. Cornered minds break faster than cornered ships. He was right. Inside the alien flagship, High Marshal Trevik felt the weight of the moment crushing his lungs. His officers stood behind him, their bodies tense, their faces pale. No one spoke because every voice felt too small to survive in that silence. Finally, a trembling communications officer broke. "Marshal, we are receiving an incoming broadcast." Trevik's eyes widened. "From who?" The officer swallowed. "From the humans." The word humans shook everyone in the room. "Put it through," Trevik said, even though his heart begged him not to. A soft click echoed through the bridge. The hologram flickered to life. Rowan stood there, calm, silent, unbreakable. He spoke only 2 words. "State surrender." The words hit Trevik like a spear. Pride shattered. Rage froze. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. No commander expects to hear those words from an enemy. No army expects to demand mercy. But this moment was no war. It was judgment. One alien officer fell to his knees. Another covered his face. A third whispered, "We have no weapons, no engines, no shields. What else can we do?" Trevik tried to speak, but a voice behind him, thin, shaking, broken, spoke first. "Please," the young alien communications officer said. "Send them a message, beg them. Before they decide we are not worth sparing." Those words stabbed deeper than any plasma blade. Beg them. Beg the humans. Trevik finally rose, his body heavy but his resolve gone. He forced himself forward and said, "Open channel." A beep echoed. This time he spoke. "This is High Marshal Trevik, commander of the Coalition fleet." His voice trembled despite every attempt to steady it. "We surrender." The words shook his ship. Officers gasped. Some cried. Some sagged in defeat. Some closed their eyes because they could not bear to see their commander fall so low. But the broadcast was not over. Trevik swallowed. "Human Admiral. Rowan, we beg you, spare our soldiers." They did not know the full plan. They acted under orders. "I take responsibility. I ask for mercy." The nebula felt like it exhaled in shock. For the first time in centuries, a coalition marshal, leader of countless campaigns, was begging. Rowan listened quietly. His face showed nothing. His eyes revealed everything. Sorrow, disappointment, determination, and something even scarier, the pain of a species forced into strength by centuries of betrayal. Rowan spoke slowly. "You attacked our fleet unprovoked. You planned to slaughter thousands of human lives. You intended to start another war." Trevik lowered his head. "Yes, we made a grave mistake." Rowan's voice was still calm. "Why?" Trevik stiffened, confused. What? Rowan's tone sharpened. "Why did you plan this ambush? Speak truth, not excuses." The alien marshal felt his soul tremble. Every officer turned to him. Every soldier across the trapped fleet waited for his answer. And Trevik realized something horrifying. Rowan wanted the truth for the galaxy to hear. Not for himself. Not for vengeance. But for history. Trevik's voice cracked. Because we feared you. Silence devoured the nebula. We feared what humans could become. We feared your growth. Your unity. Your unpredictability. Your refusal to bow. Rowan did not blink. And so you chose to destroy us. Trevik's voice lowered to a whisper. We believed, if we didn't strike first, one day you would. Myra Hale shivered. Rowan exhaled softly. The truth was exactly what humanity had always suspected. Fear. Fear that turned into aggression. Fear that turned into betrayal. Fear that turned into an ambush in the dark. Rowan's voice softened, not with pity, but with the weight of understanding. Fear makes you weak, but attacking us makes you wrong. Trevik's eyes filled with something rare for his species, wetness. Admiral, is there any mercy from your side? Rowan looked at him for a long moment. Then he nodded once. But his mercy was not comforting. It was sharp. It was cold. It was justice. You will live, Rowan said slowly. But you will carry this shame with you. And your fleets will pay the price of peace. Trevik lowered his head, tears finally falling. Officers around him broke completely. Some cried openly. Some collapsed. Some whispered prayers. Because Rowan's mercy was far heavier than any weapon. But then Rowan added one more line, a line that spread through the nebula like thunder. You said you feared humanity. His eyes hardened like steel. Now understand that humans feared nothing. The alien fleets trembled as those words sank deep into their souls. And then Rowan ended the transmission without another word. Every alien heart felt crushed. Every alien mind felt defeated. Every alien ship felt like a tomb. Humans had not come to kill them. Humans came to teach the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. And the final blow was still waiting. The nebula felt dead. Not silent, dead. The alien fleet, once roaring with power, now drifted like cold bones floating in the void. Their engines were dead, their weapons cold, their shields silent, their pride shattered. And in the center of this graveyard of fear stood the human fleet. Alive, burning with blue light, moving with a confidence that felt like the heartbeat of a rising empire. Inside the USS Horizon, Admiral Rowan stood quietly, studying the trapped armada. His expression was calm, but behind that calmness flowed a storm older than war itself. A fury born from centuries of human survival, betrayal, and pain. Sir, Ensign Myra Hale said softly, the alien fleets are waiting for your final decision. Rowan did not answer immediately. He simply watched the dark shapes of alien warships drifting like ghosts choking on their own defeat. Finally, he spoke. Patch me through. A single tone echoed through every human and alien ship. The transmission opened. Millions listened. Millions held their breath. And Rowan's voice carried through the nebula like a quiet blade. Coalition fleet, he said, your surrender has been accepted. The alien soldiers shook in relief. Relief so sharp it hurt. Some fell to the floor. Some whispered prayers. Some covered their faces, thanking stars that they were alive. But Rowan was not finished. You told me you attacked us because you feared what we might become. He paused. Now you will see why that fear was justified. Inside the alien flagship, High Marshal Trevik lifted his head slowly. Something cold crawled down his spine. What does he mean? No one answered. Because they all felt it. A low vibration spread through the nebula, deep, heavy, ancient. So ancient it felt like the stars themselves were remembering something forgotten. Rowan lifted his hand. Remove the Horizon fleet cloak. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the space behind the human fleet cracked. Not visually, not physically, but emotionally, like reality itself was peeling open. One by one, gigantic shadows emerged. Not small ships, not normal warships. Colossal Terran dreadnoughts. Ancient ones. Mythical ones. Lost to the galaxy. Believed destroyed. Believed impossible. They materialized from behind the nebula mist like mountains rising from a dying ocean. Their hulls were so massive they blocked entire constellations. Their weapon cores glowed like small suns. Their presence bent gravity. Their engines sang like thunder trapped inside steel. Alien soldiers screamed. Some fainted. Some fell to their knees in disbelief. Some cried as if witnessing the end of their existence. Trevik choked on his own breath. No, no. This cannot be. How did we not see them? Rowan answered his question. His voice steady, heavy with truth. Because you were never meant to. And then he revealed the real twist. We did not come here to fight you. The nebula trembled with his words. We came because Earth has reclaimed this nebula. Trevik staggered backward. Are reclaimed? This region belongs to the Coalition. Rowan's eyes were colder than deep space. Not anymore. Behind him, the colossal dreadnoughts aligned into a silent wall of overwhelming power. Their shadows swallowed the nebula. Their cores hummed like engines of destiny. Rowan continued. We were here long before your species learned to travel between stars. He raised his chin slightly. My ancestors built outposts inside this nebula. Hidden cities. Research vaults. Technologies your minds are not prepared to understand. Trevik's heart stopped. You had bases here. Rowan nodded. And you entered our land. You mined it. You set traps inside it. You tried to kill our fleet inside it. The alien fleet felt a deep, crushing truth settle over them like a mountain falling. They didn't ambush humans. They ambushed humans inside humanity's own territory. Trevik sank into his chair, broken. Rowan's voice was a calm judgment. This was not a battle. His eyes sharpened. This was a warning. A pulse ran through the dreadnoughts. Deep, seismic, terrifying. Not an attack. Just a reminder of their existence. The alien ships shook under the pressure. Some officers screamed. Some begged. Some whispered apologies into the darkness even though no one heard them. Rowan spoke again. You planned an ambush. You chose darkness. You chose betrayal. So we chose truth. His voice darkened. And the truth is simple. Earth does not need to attack. Earth only needs to appear. The nebula glowed with the light of human power. Alien soldiers felt hope drain from their souls. Then Rowan delivered the final line. The line that would echo through history, leave our borders. Leave our space. And leave our species alone. His voice hardened like steel snapping in fire. This is your last warning. Next time, we will not be waiting. And with those words, the dreadnoughts released a final energy wave, a massive, cosmic ripple that cleared the entire nebula mist away. Revealing stars shining bright for the first time in centuries, it was not a weapon, it was a declaration that humanity had awakened, and the galaxy would never again be the same.